from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual and amazing relationships. George Camel, Ramsey personality, co-host of the very, very popular Smart Money Happy Hour here on the Ramsey Network. It's a podcast with he and Rachel. He's my co-host today. We're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Joyce is going to start off this hour with us in Chicago. Hi, Joyce. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you. Hi, Dave and George.
Hey, what's up?
I'm so excited to be on your show and a little nervous, too.
Oh, that's okay. We've never lost a patient. How can we help?
Hey, I just wanted some clarification about the advice that you give debt and collections seems to contradict what you say about other debt, and I'm just curious as to why that is different.
Okay. I think I know where you are, but let me make sure. You mean suggesting people settle it versus like if you have a student loan, I suggest you pay it?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm making sure I knew which type of advice that was in conflict you were asking. Okay. To start with, it might help to know that the full breadth of the advice would be if you have the money and the entire bill is legitimate and it's in collections, pay it. Is our advice.
Okay.
I don't suggest people settle debts except those that are broke. Now, if you have $100,000 in medical debts, let's say, and and you're calling me to say, gosh, I think I'm bankrupt. I've got $10,000. Well, you're not bankrupt. You need to settle each of these for 10 cents on the dollar. That way you gave them everything you had, and you cleared the debt honorably. And that settlement is obviously voluntary on their part. But the other thing that comes into play then is, have they doubled the bill or tripled the bill with collections fees or a bunch of other things? Because sometimes you start out with a $1,000 bill, and 18 months later, it's $8,000 with these people. And so I'm going to go back and settle down to the original bill for sure. I'm not going to get extorted just because it went into collections. But from a moral construct, if you give them what you have and they will accept that in settlement, then that's a fair deal. Okay, so the way I know I'm okay with my ethics on that is this: I reverse it, because I don't hear adversary in your voice. So I'm kind of teaching with you. If there's adversary, we'll go back to that in a minute. But I just hear a sweet lady asking a question, and so so the other thing is, if I reverse it, okay, I have a company that 20 plus years ago advertised on this radio show. Oddly enough, the name of the company was integrity.com. Okay.
That's good.
I mean, they had the website for Integrity, right? And they decided that they weren't going to pay us $40,000. And they got in financial trouble. And I still have not gotten my $40,000 that integrity.com. I would imagine they're all gone. Whoever that was, long gone, right? So I'm not worried about it, but it's irony of ironies. I love the story because of the name. But if they called me today and said, listen, we're broke, but we're trying to go back and do right by these bills, and it's 20 years later. I could have added a lot of interest. I could have added a lot of legal fees. I could have done a lot of stuff, right? But if they said, look, we will give you $4,000 to settle this bill if you will accept that, and I'm on the receiving end of this, I'm taking the $4,000, because the probability of me getting anything out of these people ever while I'm breathing this side of heaven is zero.
Exactly.
And so I'm happy to get, not because necessarily in that case that they're of bad character, although they might have been. I don't remember that part of the story, but it's just irony. I didn't get paid by integrity.com. But if I think somebody's broke and they're trying to be honorable and will settle with me on what they owe me, I'll take it, A, because I'm probably not getting anything else, B, because I want to set them free.
Okay.
And if I want to swap that and say, gosh, I got $10,000 to my name, I got $100,000 in bills, this hospital's looking at me going, you're a bankruptcy looking for a place to happen, right? then they're going to say, hey, we've already gotten a lot of money out of the insurance company, and we're going to let this little hillbilly go. We're going to let him settle this for pennies on the dollar. Then that is honorable. But you didn't have the money to pay the bill and just refused. With the student loan thing, I'm getting these calls. I got $90,000 in the bank. I owe $80,000, and I'm waiting around to see if Biden's going to forgive it. And I signed up for the student loan. See, I think that's morally wrong.
I do too.
Okay.
I agree completely.
Do you have debt, Joyce? I'm curious, or is this just more hypothetical?
I listen to your show every day, just all day, and I just have noticed these, just a little bit of a contradiction, and I just was just curious, because I'm all about, if you buy something, you pay off your debt.
You're old school. I'm old school like you. The difference is what you were getting, and that's what I thought was happening. And thank you so much for your question, because it lets me tell millions of people where we really stand. So your question did that for me. Thank you. But the difference is, I'm also a crusader on the behalf of the downtrodden, the person who's hurt and hurting and beat up and broke and scared and terrorized. And these collectors are calling them every day, 10 times a day at work. And 2 of them got fired last week because the collector called them so many times the boss didn't want them working there anymore. This kind of stuff. We work with these people all the time. So my love for the collection world is really, really low.
Low. Yeah. I kind of figured that.
Yeah, because
I figured that out.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay your bill, even if they're jerks.
Absolutely.
If you've got the money. But if it's going to take you 152 years to pay your bill versus settle it, and they'll settle it, and you've got a little bit of money, and you're willing to give them that little bit of money, I'll help you beat the crap out of them because they're jerks.
I love it.
And the lenders, they already lost their money. They've sold it to the collectors. The collectors are trying to collect to make profit. They bought it for cents on the dollar. So it's a different scenario.
That's a valid point. That's a really good point to bring up. But it's still morally, her bugaboo, she's a moral person. And I agree with her.
Yeah.
Is if you signed up for that credit card debt, you ought to pay it.
Pay it.
Right? But I don't have the money.
A lot of the times it's medical debt, which I have more empathy for, because no one goes to the hospital going, I'd love to take on $50,000 worth of debt.
But a credit card, you're right about the credit card. The medical sells for 10 or 15 cents on the dollar usually. Medical debt, credit card debt, you can buy it for a nickel on the dollar if it's 36 months old.
Wow.
And so, in other words, $5 will buy $100 worth. $50 will buy $1,000 worth of credit card debt. And these guys buy these accounts in mass for a nickel on the dollar and then go try to collect the whole thing, which, again, that doesn't relieve you of the fact you morally owe the debt, but when you're negotiating with them, that's handy to know.
Yeah, they're still making profit one way or another.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Y'all, there's a lot you can't control when it comes to healthcare, but there is something you should check out that can help. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not insurance. It is budget-friendly, biblically based health cost sharing. That means a community of members helping share the burden of each other's healthcare costs. They help people just like you in all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Learn more today at chministries.org/budget.
Thanks for joining us, America. Open phones at 888-825-5225. If you were joining us for our last segment, our last caller, George and I were talking about Joyce off air, how much we appreciated her call. That was such a cool call.
It had a lot of class.
It was different. B, she was not mean or angry or trolling. She just really loves what we do and was worried about us being inconsistent because she wants to be a fan.
And we love being consistent, if nothing else.
I mean, I love the opportunity to clarify something. Then if you don't agree with me, at least it's for the right reason.
That's true.
If you want to hate me, do it for the right reason, not for some reason you read on the internet, because everything on the internet is true. Abraham Lincoln said that.
One of my favorite quotes from him on Twitter.
I love it. Yeah, it comes up quite often. Here we go. Today's question is sponsored by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Spring is here, and it's time to handle those projects that have been on pause. Neighborly has top-quality home service providers like Mr. Handyman, Glass Doctor Precision Garage Door Service, and Shelf Genie. I think I need a Shelf Genie, George. So find the local help you need at neighborly.com today.
Today's question comes from Drew in Austin. He writes, I hear you guys on the show talk about being, quote, house poor and not spending more than 25% of your take-home pay on your mortgage payment. Can you explain more of what house poor means and what's bad about it? In today's real estate market, that is tough to do with high home prices, higher interest rates, etc. What is the harm of paying 30 to 35% if that's what it takes to get into a house these days, especially since it is only going to appreciate in value? Well, this is interesting. It's a good question, number one. The idea of the house appreciating in value doesn't change the numbers of you have this much income and this much of your world is being taken up by that house payment. And so that's what being house poor comes down to. You don't have enough money left over to do all the other things like fund college, fund retirement, go on vacation, upgrade the car, cover the emergencies. And so being house poor just means that you have too much of your world wrapped up in that mortgage payment, and that's too many Americans today.
There's a reason that people have a car payment if they have a 35% of their income going to house payment. They don't have room in their budget to save up and pay for a car, so they go into debt. So house poor means I borrowed so much on my house that I end up borrowing on other things. Oh, and my kids in the future, they'll have student loans because I didn't save for their school. Oh, and anything I get ready to do that I don't have room, as George said, economists call the room in your budget, the margin in your budget, your disposable income, the income you have for saving and for investing and for enjoying. And if after your debt payments you don't have any disposable income, any margin left, any wiggle room left in your budget, you're going to end up in our society going into debt. And so, Drew, let me tell you one other thing. I appreciate your call or your email. In today's real estate market, it's tough to do with high home prices, higher interest rates. That is a phrase I have heard since I went on the air in 1992. Every year, someone says, but Dave, I live in California and we don't use math here. Dave, I live in New York and math doesn't count here because it's so expensive that we don't have to follow mathematical facts. We can just borrow and say, oh, it's expensive to live here. Oh, interest rates are high and I want a house. And so, but the downstream result of that is that you're going to find yourself lacking in investments and lacking in kids' college funds, as George said, and lacking in money for emergencies. So everything that happens in your life is a potential new debt because you went so far in debt in the name of getting a house because you rationalized and said, well, the world has never been like this. Well, honey, the world has always been like this. I'm old and it's always been like this. House prices have, when my parents bought their first home in 1962, $12,250 big dollars.
You can't buy a used car for that much these days.
3.25% interest rate. And you know what they got? A 30. My grandfather had a fit. You're going to be in debt for 30. Have you lost your 30-year mind? Old people back then thought you were sinning if you went that far in debt.
Well, you're buying a coffin at that point.
Yeah.
30 years is a long time.
Yes, you're going to be in debt your whole life. What's wrong with you people?
Well,
that was the reaction of the generation before my parents, right?
Yeah.
But they signed up for 30 years at $12,000. And, man, I mean, my first apartment rent was $235 a month.
Wow.
You can't even, what?
You'd have to get 9 roommates to do that
You can't
today.
cross the threshold for that.
That's unbelievable.
They won't even let you go look at an apartment.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. In those days, my pay was different. And guess what? The overall the cost of goods was different. Gasoline was $1.26. Okay, when that rent was there. So it's all relative and ratios. And so not picking on you and giving you the old boomer line here. You just don't understand, youngin'. But you just don't understand, youngin'. It's always been this way. It's always been high.
Yeah.
And you always have to make a decision to say no so later you can say yes. Live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. Haley is with us, in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hi, Haley. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I was just wondering if we should pay off our car with the profit from our home sale.
Why wouldn't you?
Because we don't have anywhere, like we're going to be living with his mom. And we're basically going to be saving for a while. There's no end date to living with her.
There's got to be an end date. She wants there to be an end date. How long have you been married?
I do. 8 years.
So what is the profits from the home sale?
2 kids. It should be from 50 to 58 grand, maybe.
Okay. And why'd you sell your house?
Basically because we can't afford it.
Okay. And how much is your car debt?
It's around $16,000.
And what's your household income?
He makes around $58,000 a year.
Okay. And you have 3 kids?
2 kids.
2 kids. Okay. Do you work outside the home, Haley?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. So if you were to pay off your car, that would leave you $40,000, $42,000 to be precise, correct?
Okay.
And if you went and rented a house, why do you have to live with your mother-in-law? What'd you do wrong?
Basically, he just wants to live mortgage-free. Like he thinks that it's.
I don't care what he wants. I'm asking what you guys did wrong. I mean, you're like grown-up adults with a $60,000 job and 2 kids, and you have no debt and $42,000 in the bank. You should not have to live with your mother-in-law.
Well, it'd be really hard to buy a house. Basically,
I just said rent.
Afford a house.
I said go rent.
That's option C.
Rent hasn't even. Yeah, he hasn't thought about that at all. I mean, it sounds like a waste of money, basically. I don't know.
So is a divorce.
No,
I ain't living with my mother-in-law, Haley.
With no end date.
This is our 4th time, so yeah.
Your 4th time living with her?
Yeah.
Why has this become the hammock for your life?
Why is this a pattern?
I don't know. The thing is, his mom has said that she would give us 2 acres.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm not living with my mother-in-law. 2 acres is not enough room.
That's what he's thinking on, of like somehow being able to build like a barn dominium. But now we're at the point where he's like, well, maybe we can afford like an apartment with a garage on it, which I've been trying to be open to, but having 2 young kids, I'm like, it sounds like kind of small.
I think your husband needs to choose reality. And the reality is we can't afford the dream barn dominium. We have to rent for a while we keep saving.
Yeah, listen, mom's not the answer to your future prosperity. You and your husband developing a game plan is the answer to your future prosperity. Every time we run home to her for future prosperity, your life gets worse, not better.
Okay.
Did I miss something?
No.
Please go rent something inexpensively. Take 5 jobs. You pick up a side job that you can do from home while the kids are there. You guys get to work, make some more money, pile up some money to add to the 42, and go get you a nice little house that you can afford. Quit running home to mama. You're too old. That's what I would do. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 40% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info. Ramsey personality, host of the George Camel YouTube channel, which has more than its share of snark.
We have too much fun on there.
One of George's most endearing qualities, his incredible level of snark.
We all have our gifts, Dave.
That's it. And
What's yours?
You're functioning in yours. I'm,
or at least what you've been told your gifts are. I don't know, that was self-proclaimed.
Humility. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. No, not really. Yeah, we'll just move right along, George. It's good. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Check out George's YouTube channel, though. Alyssa is with us in South Bend, Indiana. Hi, Alyssa. What's up?
Hi. I was wondering what type of savings account I should open for a new baby.
Oh, when's your first baby due?
She actually was just born in March.
Oh, congratulations.
Awesome.
What'd you have? Little girl, you said, right?
Yep.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Cool. So when you talk about savings, are we thinking college?
I'm not sure completely. Like, I don't know, if we'll use it for education, because we looked at, like, an Indiana 529 plan since we're here in Indiana. But I'm not sure if it's going to be for college. Just kind of something for when she's older. She was getting some money when she was born and for baptism, and we don't really want to spend it.
How much?
For her. So right now we have about $500, and we're still on baby step 2. But by the time she's like 5 years old, we'll probably be contributing more aggressively towards it.
Okay, we had 2 accounts for our kids. One was their little miscellaneous little savings account, which is what you're talking about. And then 2, we had a college plan. The college plan was, and today, if I had done it, it would be a 529, and it wouldn't be with Indiana wouldn't do prepaid ed. Instead, I would just do a 529 savings in mutual funds and get you a SmartVestor Pro at RamseySolutions.com to help you do that. Don't do that with the money we're talking about right now. The money we're talking about right now is you just open up a savings account. And actually, the baby can't have a savings account until they're 21. You have to be 18 to do contract law in any state in the union. And so when a kid has an account at a bank, it's actually in their parent's name or in the kid's name with a parent as a custodian or someone as the custodian. So you're the custodian of the account. So you just run down there and open a little savings account. If you want to do high yield, that's fine. It's not the amount of money this account makes is not important. And then what we used that account for was, it started as a place that if they got absurd amounts of money that a 4-year-old doesn't need, we throw it in that account. Like if somebody gave them $50 or something, that 4-year-old doesn't know what to do with $50. So we're going to throw that into a little savings account, okay? $5, you can go get you some candy or whatever. But $50 is crazy. Yeah. So $500 is crazy, right? They can't, because they can't make the distinction at that age of the value judgment. So we're just piling that money up. And so by the time they got up with miscellaneous over-gifting at birthdays or whatever, that kind of stuff, small amounts, usually less than $1,000, but too much to give them for candy money, it had built up to where they had sometimes a couple $1,000 in there, okay? A little bit at a time. And then when we started training them on the Financial Peace Junior system, where we had 3 envelopes for your daily, weekly chores, and you got paid commission, one of the envelopes was for saving. And what you were saving for at our house was for your first car. I'm taking care of your college with my savings plan for your college over here on the other side, but you're saving for your first car. And our deal was that we told them we would match it. And so save like crazy because you got 401 Dave going here. Okay? And so each of the kids saved up money, and then whatever they saved up, I matched that, Sharon and I matched that and bought them their first car. And so like Denise, our oldest, was the first one out, and they always get the worst deal because it takes them a little while to break the ground. And I think she saved up like $5,000 or $4,000. We got a little $8,000
nice
Mustang. It was nicknamed Waldo because when she parked it and forgot where it was, we always said, "Where's Waldo?" Right, in the mall parking lot, right? And so you got to give a car a name when you're a teenager.
Yes,
right?
And the worse the car is, the better the nickname has to be.
Exactly. And then Rachel Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, she's now known as, saved up a little more than that and was looking at a really bad idea of a car. We went and drove it, and she hated it, thank God. And but she had it on her wall for 8 months, and then we drove it, and it's like it's horrible. It was an Xterra. Remember those cars?
Yeah.
Horrible car.
Did Survivor make those possible?
I don't know. They're
Real
awful.
popular?
So, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
she ended up getting a used Beamer, which is a lot better car for the same money. And, it was like a $10,000 Beamer. It was not super expensive. And then the little brother, he's kind of watching all this. So I'll go ahead and tell the whole story, Alyssa, so you can just all the way down the siblings, right? If you're going to tell them you're going to match, recommendation, parents, put a limit on it.
Ooh.
Because the little guy might save up 30 grand, you know?
He's business-minded.
And then you got a 60 grand car with a 16-year-old. I don't think so. So he did. He saved up a ton of money. And I said, honey, no 16-year-old's driving a car that expensive in our house because you're going to tear the freaking thing up because you're 16 and you're an idiot. So you're not driving a car that expensive. So we got to get you a different car. But I'm still going to match it, and you can do something else with the money. And he's a ministry-minded kid. He gave it to an orphanage.
Wow.
In Colombia.
What a guy.
Yeah. And so gave a huge gift at 16 years old. Huge.
That's
gift.
incredible.
Yeah. And got him a nice little Jeep. So, and he still got the Jeep to this day. He's had several cars since then. But I bought the Jeep back from him later because I wanted it.
Now it's sentimental.
Then I gave it to him. It's probably worth $100 now, but I gave it back to him as a graduation gift. Yeah. So he's got it in the garage right now. So that thing's still around. But that's the whole story on it. The point being that you kind of still need a goal for it. I don't ever like a savings account to have no goal. So you've got an emergency fund, you've got a car fund, you've got a college fund, you've got a whatever fund. And your kid could be saving for college. That's okay. But this is not just a general account, and then I decide I want to buy like $8,000 of Skittles. Because stupid people will do that sometimes, and you can't just allow them to do that. This is a parenting tool. It's not an actual financial transaction.
Well, a lot of people, Dave, they're going, well, I don't know if my kid's going to go to college, so I'm just going to create an investment account, and that way they can use it on whatever they want. So that's kind of a new way of thinking for a lot of people. But with the new Secure Act 2.0, we can actually roll over those 529 plan college funds into a Roth IRA in case they don't use it.
If you don't use it at all. But the other thing is you can use it for tech school, and you can use it for other types of education other than 4 years of university, right? You can use it for a lot of stuff. And here's an idea. After high school, if you quit learning, if you never learn anything else after high school, you're what's known as dumb.
That's a problem.
So you need to keep learning.
Some type of further education.
Don't be a dimwit. Keep learning. I don't care where you keep learning or how you keep learning. I'm okay with certain personalities not getting a 4-year degree. I'm not a hotty-toddy one of those people, but the hoity-toity or whatever you call it. But anyway, I'm not that. I'm fine with a welder making $120,000 and a master's degree in sociology making $38,000. So I'm choosing welder. Okay, I'm fine with that. But that's not a bad choice, is my point. But this idea that I'm never going to learn anything else, I'm never going to sit. I just taught a week-long leadership conference with a whole bunch of the best minds in the world called Entree Leadership Summit. We just finished last week. That's why I went on the air last week. And people paid a lot of money to be in there that make a lot of money and that are big business leaders that were there to learn from other people. Learn and read, grow, invest in yourself. So
that's important.
Very important, very important. Lots of stuff going on in this call. But yeah, you're right.
But it's more about the principles, like you mentioned, Dave.
But it is a baby in a bathwater thing to say, I'm never, higher education's lost its mind. The student loan crisis is out of control. The prices are ridiculous, and some of the degrees offered are absolutely freaking useless. So I'm going to abandon the whole idea of education. Well, that's dumb. Don't be dumb about education. Everything I just said was true, but that's not a reason to abandon the whole idea of being smarter. Of course you want to be smarter. So yeah, 529s are just fine. But
And you
always,
can change the name too. Goes to another kid.
Yeah, you can move it.
Someone's
to
gotta
another,
go
move
to
it to another
college.
sibling. One of them's going to take care of the rest of you. So, oh my!
But the principles
gosh.
are good. Raise the principles, give, save, spend, flex those muscles, and they'll be okay. They'll be all right.
This is the Ramsey Show. George Camel Ramsey Personality is my co-host. So 9 months ago, we told you that the real estate market was going to slow down. It was not going to crash. That prices were going to go up, but not as much as they had been. And that there was going to continue to be a shortage of housing versus the number of buyers out there looking. And it turns out 9 months ago, we were right.
Feels good.
We were right. Feels good.
Not going to say I told you so, but...
Just not to say I told you so, but I told you so. There you go. So... hey, the job market and the economy, everything's kind of in a funk. The real estate market has slowed down. The interest rates have gone up. It feels like it's in a big funk. But the weird thing is it's not. Houses are still selling. They're taking about twice as long as they used to, but they were selling in 30 minutes, and now they're selling in about 60 days. And there's more houses on the market because the market has slowed down, but there was nothing on the market before. Some price ranges in some areas, there's a complete shortage. There's nothing for sale in a certain price range in a certain area. So if you want someone to show you the best neighborhood schools, someone to walk you through the best places to eat, someone to put you on the right foot when it's talking about getting a house, you need to get a real top-notch, high-octane, high-protein real estate agent. Not just any agent that got his license 3 weeks ago. I'm talking about somebody that sells hundreds of houses, knows what they're doing. And if you want an agent that'll do more than just find you a home, connect with a Ramsey trusted real estate agent. They're local experts who we have vetted to be some of the top salespeople in their area. They're that because they get houses sold and they help you find a house if you're a buyer. We can connect you with a Ramsey trusted agent all over the country. There's thousands of them, and we spend a lot of money and a lot of time vetting them and making sure they're the right kind of people. Go to RamseySolutions.com/local agents. I'm proud of these folks. They do a good job for you listeners. That's RamseySolutions.com/local agents. Works that way. Bill's with us in Cincinnati. Hey, Bill, what's up?
Hey, Dave. Hey, George. I want to thank you for taking my call. The question I have for you is debt-free except for mortgage payment, new mortgage that we took out back in October. Currently, I'm maxing out my 401k contributions and wondering if I should either cut those down or maybe pause them to try to get the mortgage payment down.
What's your household income?
And paid off. About 150, 175, and to add another layer, I've got some after-tax investments and savings that amount to about probably about $240,000. The mortgage started at $300 back in October. I've been paying it off down to about $260 as of this month.
So if you sold off your non-retirement assets, you could clear the house?
I would be pretty close. I'd probably be about $10,000 away. I've got about 240 in what we'll call liquid funds, and I've got about I think 260 left on the mortgage as of June.
Wow.
Why would you not do that?
Well, I was thinking, when I've talked to other folks, they say about the investment side that, basically based on returns and things of that nature, that you're taking a risk from the investment side of losing money.
Yeah,
that could have
those
been,
are broke people.
Invested.
They have mortgages.
Yeah.
No, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, we studied 10,000 millionaires, the number of them that told us they became a millionaire by investing with money that they borrowed on their house was very dangerously close to zero, like none of them.
Well, and I've actually thought about that too, about liquidating that account. But you know, as I said, other folks have told me, be careful about the returns and things of that nature. So that's why I didn't know if I should, as I said, I'm topping out the 401k. Didn't know if I should, maybe lower that. Or it sounds like the best plan would be to do the.
Well, we tell folks baby step 4 first, right?
Yes. So baby step 4, 5, 6, simultaneous, 15% of your income into retirement. Fund some college, and whatever's left, we can start paying down the house. So are you doing more than 15% right now?
Yeah, I'm maxing it out. So I'm actually putting in 15%, but when it, at the end, it's basically the max that I can contribute for the year for the 401k.
So if you're putting 15% in, you're putting the correct amount in to retirement. I would not stop that to pay off the house faster. I would consider liquidating non-mortgage assets, or non-retirement assets, to pay off a mortgage. Here's what's going to happen, Bill. When you get this house paid off, all those dumb people that are telling you that you're not going to hate it. And if you hate it, go get you a new mortgage. You're not going to hate it.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel differently than you've ever felt in your entire life. How old are you?
Just turned 52.
Way to go. And you're making really good money, and you're 100% debt-free, but your house, you've really done a good job. Now, seriously, if you followed our advice, what's your worst-case scenario? You hate it, and you go get another mortgage. Yeah, you hate it, and you go get another mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm telling you, we studied 10,167 millionaires. We asked them what they did to build wealth. 89% of them became millionaires, not because of an inheritance. So that means they systematically, somehow built wealth. None of them told us that they did it with a whole life policy. None of them told us that not one, told us that they borrowed money on their house, invested that money, and that caused them to be wealthy, which effectively is what you're doing. I mean, honestly, tactically, you didn't go borrow this money. You borrowed the money to buy the house instead of cashing this stuff in. But balance sheet-wise, you understand it's the same mathematical effect. Mm-hmm. As if you borrowed on your house to do those investments. No millionaires do that. None. Now, broke people do it all the time, and people with theory that don't actually build wealth do all kinds of crap. They tell me they buy and sell stocks. They tell me they got rich in crypto. They tell me there's all these people that tell me all these things, but they're a lot like fishing and golf stories, 98% of which we all know that do either one are lies.
Makes for a good story, though. But truthfully, making $175 with no payments in the world, you could invest another $200 in a few years if you really want to. So the world's your oyster.
In the period of time you could have paid off the house, you can invest that much more. Okay, if you say, I'm going to cash flow and pay off $240, then your cash flow without a house payment would put the $240 back in approximately the same period of time. I mean, almost the same. Maybe a little less because you'd be earning on it as you went.
Hopefully.
So I personally have lived debt-free for a very, very, very long time. And as my old pastor used to say, a man with an experience is not at the mercy of a man with an opinion. Jason is with us in Sioux Falls. Hi, Jason. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Dave, George, how are you guys?
Better than we deserve, man. What's up?
Hey, so I need your advice. I'm wondering, do I pause the baby steps to cash flow a wedding and a career change?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What's the wedding going to cost?
Our budget is $12,000.
That sounds reasonable.
Trying to keep it a little bit modest.
Sure, that's very modest. Good job. Good job. Okay. Sounds like you're marrying someone with common sense.
Yes, for sure. More than myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm also trying to switch careers. So
what is your income?
$70,000 a year.
70? What's hers?
Right now about 36.
Okay, so between you it's 106. How fast you two gonna save up $12,000?
Should be saved up.
Few months.
September. Yeah.
Awesome. So it's not really going to delay the baby steps all that much.
No, but then on the other side of the wedding, we're going to tackle her debt, and I'm trying to figure out when to make this career switch that I'm thinking about.
Cool. When's the wedding?
October 13th.
Awesomeness. Good for you, man.
This is great. And you have no debt, but she does?
Correct. I just finished baby step 2.
Way to go. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I'm cash flowing the wedding and then piling up cash as high as I can pile it up And when we come home from the honeymoon, we'll combine our finances and really get after hers real fast and hard.
And then we can look at that career change. You got a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need to do that before the wedding?
The career switch?
Yeah.
I don't need to. No.
Good. Let's wait till spring.
Okay.
This is a time of great joy, and changing jobs is not always a great joy.
Right. As we've talked about it, she has peace about it. I have peace about it. So I think we'll move forward eventually.
Yeah. I want you to move forward. I was just questioning when. Sometimes when we try to do 6 good things at once, one of them ends up messing up the other ones. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm thinking. But you do whatever you want. I'm okay. Hey, cash flow your wedding, man. You're doing it. I'm proud of you. Very cool. Man, there's hope, George. There's hope.
I thought you had to spend $100,000 on a wedding. Turns out people are just dumb.
Yeah, the 12,000 people aren't dumb. The 100,000.
Yeah.
Unless you got a couple million anyway.
There we go.
This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's George Camel. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Thanks for joining us, America. George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the George Camel YouTube show. You should check it out. Plenty of snark there. Lots of fun there. You're going to learn something, and you're going to giggle and laugh and everything. And our phone number here today, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Peter is with us in Eugene, Oregon. Hi, Peter. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing well. I'm looking for some advice on handling the financial aspects of the panic that's starting and is going to continue around AI, artificial intelligence.
Where is the panic?
Well, first of all, they're looking at it as an existential threat. But
I understand all the philosophical panic, but you're talking about a financial panic. I missed any financial panic.
Yes. I worked in the AI field for over 40 years, and we're turning a lot of things over to AI, including...
I'm aware of that. Where is the financial panic actually occurring?
It's on the horizon, and we're going to see bank accounts and mortgage paperwork that's moved around and gets lost, and I'm wondering how to protect ourselves during this transition over to more AI when those kinds of errors can come up. And so,
okay, so there's not any. Wait a minute. Let me stop a second. I just want to make sure I'm real clear.
Oh, yes.
I don't disagree with you that AI is a big freaking deal. And that there's going to be a lot of things that we don't even know are going to happen as a result, good and bad, by the way. And there's a lot of reason to be concerned and a lot of reason to be thrilled with the potential of AI. What I'm trying to point out is that there hasn't been any financial panic happen yet.
Yes.
Except in people's minds.
But are there things that I can do where I can, what sort of documentation, what do I need to get together? To
protect yourself for what in particular?
A couple of things, they're all associated with assets like mortgages, and paperwork that's at the bank. It's not beyond the scope that what I have in the bank could be transferred over to someone else who has a name close to mine who lives in Timbuktu. Right?
Okay. So do you keep banking records other than digital?
I keep some.
Okay.
They keep trying to get me to go digital, and I'm thinking, well, should I go back to asking them to send me paper copies of everything?
Or just hit print?
Yeah. Is that?
I mean, if you want to put a discipline in place for a period of time because you're concerned about that, if you hit print, that's fine. I do not. Unless the entire civilization as we know it is collapsed by AI, which I'm not willing to go with that scenario, but unless that occurs, the mass transfer of banking assets to the wrong people is not going to happen. Now, is there going to be some of that? Oh, absolutely. There is some of that today. You have $8 an hour people coding some of this crap, and it gets in the wrong account now. Escrow accounts, I bet you 40% of them are out of balance. They can't even seem to divide their insurance and taxes by 12 and properly charge it into the mortgage payment. So, so we've always had a level of error. The question is do the institutions, is the level of error so massive that it's uncorrectable? If it is, I don't think there is a protection for that. If it's minor, and you're the one, or the one of the 5,000 customers out of 500,000 that had a problem, and you got to prove it to get your stuff put back, then yeah, you probably do want to protect yourself against that, but you probably ought to be doing that anyway.
Yeah, AI is using data that it has been given. And so unless your bank records got hacked and fed into the AI systems, it feels a little verging on paranoia versus the reality.
I think the hackers could use AI to actually clean out some accounts, to his point. I would go with him on that. I don't think that's paranoia. I mean, I think you're going to see hackers use AI in a way that we haven't even dreamed up. I mean, these buttholes can steal stuff that's not theirs regularly as it is. This is just going to help them. So AI is going to be, it's a more efficient way to do fraud.
Yeah.
That's what it amounts to. But that doesn't mean that the bank is going to not be responsible for your $10,000 that was in your account before some AI-aided hacker cleaned your account out.
It just becomes one more way fraud could occur.
Exactly. It's more efficient for everyone to do content, to create fraud, to violate copyrights or trademarks or steal images. It's if you want to be crooked, it's a more efficient way to be crooked. That's the downside of this technology. Mm-hmm. It's highly innovative and highly efficient. Oh my God, it's amazing. But also, it's got such a powerful thing for good. And
it kind of feels like when the internet was on the horizon, we all went, this is scary, but also amazing. I think we're just going to all adapt.
Yeah, but I think to go 100% dark on it and predict the end of time because of it, as an existential threat, no, because I still think humans have this weird idea that we want to be in control of crap.
We're not going to let the robots take over.
I just don't think, I don't think we're going to need Will Smith on this. I think we're going to be all right. And so, because people are going, wow, powerful tool, scary thing, but wow, the vehicle versus the horse and buggy, powerful tool, scary thing. You can run over the neighbor's dog. Hard to do that with a horse.
That's true.
It's it's
a good reminder to actually make sure you have good passwords and it's not just password on those old bank accounts.
Keep your dog out of the street. Yeah.
And keep your dog out of the street.
There's
both
that,
and.
but yeah. But the
two life tips from us today.
It's 2 life hacks. But no, he's right that there's some scary things. What I don't want to do and what I was trying to push in there is we don't want to add to the idea that there's already some kind of like stocks have lost value in anticipation of what AI is going to do. Let me give you an example of that, okay? Y2K. Anybody remember that? Old people? Young people? Kool-Aid drinkers? Are you out there? Y2K. Yes. Remember the world was going to come to an end? I have a friend who wrote a book about the end of the world on Y2K, made millions of dollars doing it. Big bestseller. Wow. Huge bestseller. He's written several bestsellers since then. None of them were like, I was wrong about Y2K. But anyway. But yeah. And did stocks go down? They went down. What happened in January when the fireworks went off? Did the grid shut down? Did the world shut down?
No.
Nope. What happened? Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. Stocks went right up through the roof. January that year was one of the best years ever. Look up January 2000. You'll love it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
George Camel Ramsey, personality, is my co-host today. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is The Ramsey Show. For 30-plus years, we've been here on the air, answering the same questions exactly the same way. Eventually, someone will hear us.
You got to say it, 1,000 times for it to click?
7,000 is the rule, yeah. So, hey, we got people who tune into every episode of The Ramsey Show, and they know everything we teach about money, and they still feel stressed out and stuck. Why? Because knowing what to do is different than doing it. Ooh. Knowing what to do is different than doing it. Like the mute button. It does that.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
I figured it out.
I couldn't figure out where that was coming from. Okay. Yeah. Personal finance is 80% behavior. The problem with my money is the guy in my mirror. If I can get him to behave, he can be skinny and rich. But he has issues. He likes donuts, chocolate. Oh, wait a minute.
This feels very personal,
I digress.
Dave. This got real personal.
Wait a minute. This is not my personal counseling session. I'm sorry. Okay. The proven way to change your behavior with money is by getting in a situation where you're accountable and encouraged by other people. It turns out it is not good that man be alone. Remember the Fauci quarantine? I remember the Fauci quarantine. It's not good that man be alone. No one liked being alone.
We went full castaway.
People got fat, went crazy, and remodeled their houses. It was not good, you know? And so it is not good that man be alone. No, the proven way to do it, getting into a Financial Peace University class, 10 million people have done that. And what happens is not only do we teach you the things you should have been taught when you're in high school, and no one teaches except us in high school. So there you go. And in case, you know, not only, but just knowing it doesn't do it. So the teaching, so you need to be in a group, in a class, whether it's virtual or in a local church. And that's why this class has worked for millions of people. Go to Financial Peace University, RamseySolutions.com/FPU. And let me tell you, folks, it's the best time you'll spend because you'll break some habits that some of you have had for 23 years. Oh, 23 years. Was I talking to you? Must have been God's voice. Did you hear it? Yeah. RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That was a joke. Calm down. For those
you
of
can hear them freaking out.
Those of you that are oversaved, calm down. But so George, guess what I found out?
What's that?
The state of Florida is genius.
Okay.
At least on one thing. They have passed a law. They're one of 22 states now that has a mandatory personal finance requirement to graduate from high school. Ding, ding.
We love it.
Just went through, and the school boards are all going around now. The districts are all going around, and we are at Ramsey, the Foundations in Personal Finance, Ramsey curriculum for high school students. Our personal finance stuff is one of just a handful of approved curriculum. We got our final Florida approval this week.
We meet all the standards.
We meet all the standards, all the backup.
It's awesome.
And so your local district, if you're in Florida, has the requirement to teach something, and they can choose hours. So if you're in Florida and you want your kid, or if you're just in Florida and you want kids in general to go through, young, teenage, brilliant people to go through Foundations in Personal Finance, contact your local district and say, hey, we want Ramsey, we want Ramsey, we want Ramsey. If you're going to protest with pitchforks and like torches and everything,
do it for a good cause.
You ought to just do something positive. Because you know how many times somebody calls a school board district or school board or a school district and says something positive?
That's pretty
None.
rare.
None. This is like calling your preacher and giving him a compliment. They never get one. They always hear what was wrong with the sermon. We don't like you got this curriculum. We don't like this book we don't like this. We don't like that. Just what we like is we like Ramsey in our schools, and we would like it to be there. And you have to teach something, you might as well teach this. So call them, Florida. Call your districts and let them know.
And there's a big gap in those curriculums because some of the other ones, Dave, they're teaching all about credit and the importance of the credit score and how to lead this life of debt. It's exhausting. So we're out here going against the grain.
Now we could complain, but no, we were trying not to complain. But
trying to be nice.
Yeah, there we go. Marilyn's in Houston, Texas. Hi, Marilyn. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, George.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you so much. Thank you for answering my call.
Sure.
I need some help with a decision before I make it.
Okay.
Me and my husband would like to know, should we sell our rental and our land? We have a rental property.
Mm-hmm.
We have some land, and we also have my mother-in-law's home we need to sell to pay off our principal in the home we live in. It's a newer home. We bought it new.
Would you share some numbers with me, please? How much do you owe on your present residence?
$254,000.
What is your land worth?
My land, I got a call today, and they trying to get me to sell it for $20,000.
Okay.
Although I was asking for $35,000.
What is the mother-in-law's property worth?
$220,000.
Is it paid off?
It's paid off, but he has to share with two nieces.
Oh, so what is your share of the 220?
50.
Is it a third?
I'm sorry.
You getting
50,
1/3?
I'm sorry.
You getting 1/3?
He's getting 50%, and they're getting 25%.
Okay, so he gets 110,000 out of that. Okay, and
yes,
then you had a rental. What would you get out of the rental?
The rental appraised for $210,000. We have a mortgage on it.
How much?
So we $109 we owe.
Okay, so you get 100 out of that. All right. So 100, 110, and 20 would give you enough to pay off your house, but almost, but not quite. If you sold all three of those things, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And why are you wanting to do all that?
Because my husband, I feel like a workaholic, and he's just driving himself, working. And he's 61. He's been on his job 37 years. And I'm just ready for him to relax more. So I'm telling him, I'll call you guys.
Y'all have any more money?
At this point, we have our emergency fund. That's all we have right now.
All right. So you got rid of all your bills, but you still got no money if you do this, right?
Yeah. And we do have a vet that I owe $30,000 on.
A Corvette?
Corvette.
Okay. That's interesting.
Well, that's because I was working and I was paying for it, but I ended up having a hip replacement. So now I'm at home still healing, but I am paying for it. I'm getting money to pay for it.
Honey, you're selling off everything in sight to pay off your house, and then you're trying to tell me how you keeping this $30,000 car on.
You're not driving.
That you can't even drive with a hip replacement. There's something funny about a hip replacement in a Corvette. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I hear you.
What's it worth?
I have to make the decision.
I got to climb up in my truck, and I'm too sore to do it today, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. They told me it's worth $35,000.
Okay.
And I was thinking, yeah.
So
I'm willing to get rid of it.
I think if you got rid of everything and you had the house paid off, that'd be an awesome start, but you sound like you think you're through when you do that. You got no money now. You got a paid off house, but we're going to dig up the bushes to eat.
That's right.
Yeah, we're going to have some money in addition to getting all this stuff paid off. And so I love the idea of, it sounds like you're cleaning out your closet and having a garage sale, but it's a rather sophisticated one.
You're getting rid of a whole lot of clutter in your life. And it's a great start, but it's not a silver bullet, like Dave mentioned. So I think these are all great things to do, but we still need a game plan of how we can stop working one day.
Is there any one of these items you're talking about selling that you, other than the Corvette, that you went, oh, man, I think we really shouldn't do that. We ought to keep it?
No, not. Well, my husband wants to keep the new house. He figured he worked hard. And
the new house, the one you live in?
The one we live in.
Yeah, but we weren't selling it. We were just paying it off, right?
Yeah, but I was trying to tell him, let's do the Dave Ramsey way and go back to our other house, pay it off, and pay our debt off, and we'll still have the money.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know where we got that being the Dave Ramsey way. The Dave Ramsey way would be paying off everything by selling everything, keeping the new house, and then work a few more years and let's build us up a nest egg. You don't have to work like a maniac, but you do need to be aggressively saving in the next 5 to 7 years. This is The Ramsey Show. We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. The Vikings football team.
That would be incredible. What a tease. I was like, I don't know where Dave's going with this, because that stage is wide open.
James is going. The producer's in there going, nobody's on the stage, Dave. Nobody's on the stage. What's going on? Dave's saying,
James just had a heart palpitation from that.
Yeah.
But this is exciting news. Is this the first time that it's
the first time we've done a debt-free screen with an NFL team.
Wow.
I've not done one. We're not technically doing one. We're just doing it on their behalf. They didn't even ask us to, but we want to give them a big shout-out and congratulations. You take it.
The Vikings paid off their stadium, what was it, 27 years early, 23 years early? Mm-hmm. This is crazy. And they saved hundreds of millions of dollars in interest. I love the line.
The Vikings can send their mortgage to Valhalla.
The writer was having fun with this one.
That's good. Way to go, writer.
Wow. So
it's Mike Florio. No wonder. Okay, on Pro Football Talk. That's where the article's from. Okay, thanks, Mike. Good job, Mike. I like it.
A new tax bill will dramatically accelerate the process of paying off U.S. Bank Stadium. Before July 1st, $377 million in bonds on the building will be retired at a savings of $226 million in interest. Wow.
So the Vikings... I'll tell you, it's a nice stadium, too. You ever been?
I don't think I've been over there.
I've been there a couple times, and we've done a bunch of stuff there in Minneapolis, and a lot of the churches and things we work with and businesses we work with have suites, and so we've gone a couple times. It is a beautiful stadium. Congratulations to the Vikings.
So it'll be paid off before the 2023 season. Mm-hmm. So they're on the verge.
So they're debt
And
free.
here's your invite. If you guys want to come,
how does a Viking scream, "I'm debt free"?
probably in a frightening way. Whether it's a football player or an actual Viking, still scary. But they have an open invite to come do their debt-free
Well,
screen.
we wouldn't even make you come here. We would allow you to do it over the phone. If anyone from the Vikings organization wants to scream, "I'm debt free," we would be honored.
And if you want to invite us on the field during the game,
I think it might be the only NFL stadium in America that is paid off. I could be wrong.
these stadiums are insane.
Is Jerry Dome paid off? Jerry might have paid off Jerry Dome.
He's got the money.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I'm not sure. You never know.
You never know.
I honestly don't know, but this is the first time I've heard of this, and so.
Would you go on the field and do the debt-free scream if they invited you?
You bet.
To open up the season?
Absolutely.
I think this is some brilliant television.
And on top of that, the Vikings actually win, too. They're actually a good football team. That's helpful, too. So
it also helps with their revenue to pay this thing off,
That's true.
Winning teams.
That's true. We stayed at the, we were up there the last time doing an event. We stayed at the Omni, which is right next to their practice facility. And I walked over, we had some time, I was doing my walk, and I walked over and went through the museum. And no one was in there but me, but it was and all these ghosts of Christmas past, but football past. But it's a fascinating museum. I mean, Fran Tarkington, all the whole thing. It's just very, very cool. Very cool. So, hey, way to go, Vikings. Vikings are debt free.
Well, I like when a stadium's not desperate for revenue. Now they can actually make the experience great for the fans and not jack up prices on the hot dogs and all that good stuff.
I'm thinking the prices on the hot dogs
are still going to be
$17.
Dang it!
Thinking.
But we're going to eat for free when we go.
Are we? Just because we did this? Just because we loved on them.
We mentioned you guys on air.
Yeah, we're not above a schmooze for a free hot dog. That's all we're saying. But yeah, hey, cool stuff. Cool. Very cool. The stadium's already been in existence for 7 NFL seasons, hosting a Super Bowl and a Final Four and various other events, lots of various other events. The building is in first-class condition, and it's in excellent condition.
It's a $1.1 billion stadium. It's pretty amazing.
It's a beast. It really is. And the old one, you remember, in the old days, you probably know, the 1 year they had the blow-up roof type thing over it.
Oh,
and it collapsed with too much snow on it back in the old days. This is the one before this.
That's Minnesota problems right there.
Yeah, not issues we have in Tennessee unless humidity will collapse something. But open phones here at 888-825-5225. Connor is with us in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Connor, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Good afternoon, Dave and George. How are y'all?
Better than we deserve, man. What's up?
I have been living on rice and beans for years, and I am scared to live a little.
How many years?
I was wanting to. About 6.
Why?
Currently 22. I've been in. I took your class in high school. My parents taught me to leave the Ramsey way. Tripped and fell a couple times, but I didn't go to college and just instantly started saving every penny I made. Didn't live off nothing, just save.
How much money do you have now?
Currently about $200,000.
Good for you. And how old are you?
22.
22. You're an old man. And and what's your household income, sir?
About $160,000 a year.
Way to go. What do you do for a living?
I am a car truck driver.
Wow, you're killing it. Okay. Okay, let's clarify a couple things. The Ramsey way is live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. That's the Ramsey way, not living in a cave and collecting lint and only coming out on triple coupon Thursday the rest of your life. That's not the Ramsey way, okay? So generosity and enjoyment should increase as wealth increases.
Okay.
And I think you're just stuck on the saving part of the button, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm scared to really touch any of it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We've got a flat tire. So we've got give, save, spend. That's the only 3 things you can do with money, and you're great at the savings part. And so what I would do if I'm in your shoes is I would force myself to have some goals in the giving arena and the spending arena that feel frivolous, that feel crazy for Connor at 20. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm spending this much on a vacation. I can't believe I'm going to tip that waitress $1,000. But man, when you do it, it is going to be so freeing.
Connor, if I were to step back, if you were to step outside of your body for a minute and just look at your life from a distance, and you were looking at your whole situation, What's something Connor should be spending money on that he's not?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm not sure.
Just give me two things. There's two things. You are sure. You know exactly what I meant.
I mean, I'd eventually like a vacation.
A vacation.
And I'd eventually
What would be an outrageous vacation for you in your mind?
Oh, Australia.
Okay. And what would you spend on this outrageous vacation?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe $10,000.
Okay. And you have $200,000, right?
Yeah, most of it's tied up, though.
What's it tied up in?
The stock market.
In mutual funds or stocks or?
Mainly stocks.
Retirement account?
I have 401k, about $60,000 of that's in 401k.
Well, it's not tied up if it's in a stock, honey. You put in a sell order and you have the money by tomorrow. It's not tied up at all. There's no rope involved in the stock market. They don't use rope there.
True.
Okay. You're thinking of it properly as a long-term investment, not something to jump in and out of. But let's pretend that tomorrow you had $190,000 instead of $200,000. Would you still be okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I think George is right. Maybe even we baby steps. Maybe we don't spend $10,000. Maybe we spend $5,000 and we go somewhere other than Australia, because you do need to spend $10,000 if you're going to go there. But let's baby step it and say, I'm going to. Because what's happening is, George is exactly right. The tire's flat, and those muscles haven't been worked, and we need to work a giving muscle, and we need to work a spending muscle. So pick out a number that you're going to splurge on giving, and find something that makes you cry. Hungry children, children in the burn ward or the cancer ward. I don't know. What is it that makes you cry? And give them some money. And find something for you and take that same exact amount of money and go do a trip and start to build this muscle.
Maybe find a hobby. Dave picked up golfing.
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. That causes all kinds of...
Too much stress.
There's too much mental illness associated with that. No, but yeah, find something that's fun. Yeah, don't do that. This is the Ramsey Show. Thanks for joining us, America. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Jill is in Milwaukee. Hi, Jill. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave and George. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my husband and I are new to baby step 4, and we're wondering if we should open an IRA for my husband. So we both have matches with our employer's 401ks, and we're doing that. Then after the match, I already had an IRA, so I'm maxing that out, but we still have a bit to go to get to our 15%. So we're wondering if it's best to open an IRA for him, or do we go back to our 401ks, do the rest in the Roth options, or what would you recommend?
You got Roth options on the 401ks, so the difference in a Roth option and a Roth option for an individual, there is no difference as long as the mutual funds are the same thing. If you got crummy mutual funds on the 401k, you could do the individual. If you want to do the individual, it's okay. But you got all the match you can get, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I did with our Ramsey 401k is we've got a Roth option here. And so for many years, I just used the Roth 401k and did my 15% there and didn't contribute to a Roth IRA. So unless you're maxing it out, the income goes up to where, you would move to maybe a backdoor Roth IRA or something like that. You could stick to the Roth 401ks if they've got good options.
Yeah, as long as you got good mutual funds in there, you're fine.
Okay, sounds good. So then would you recommend what the amount that I'm putting into the IRA actually go into my 401k because I have a bigger bucket of savings there.
Doesn't matter the size of the bucket. All that matters is the quality of the investments. Is your IRA a Roth?
It is, yes.
Okay. No, I'd leave it alone. It's fine. As long as you got good mutual funds. The size of the bucket doesn't change it. As long as it's the total, all that you're getting, you're making money on every dollar, regardless of where the dollar's laying. Now, if one mutual fund is losing 5% and one's gaining 15%, that's a different thing, right?
Yep.
But in terms of the buckets, if you got $10,000 in one in your Roth and you got $150,000 in your 401k, you have $160,000 working for you. It doesn't matter which pile it's in.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
That doesn't change the math at all. So, good question. Good question. Hey, here's what's cool, Jill. You're going to be rich. You know why you're going to be rich? Because you're paying attention.
Asking these kinds of questions.
Number one correlating factor between people who have money, they pay attention.
And they invest consistently.
All the time.
It's that simple.
They're asking questions like she's asking. Broke people don't ask questions like Jill asked. And, unless they're trying to not be broke anymore, but I mean, they don't. But people that do that, this intentional, I actually am going to spend some time learning about a Roth IRA, putting money in a Roth IRA instead of rewatching Tiger King. And these are the people that end up, I mean, does anybody really rewatch Tiger King? But it could happen.
It's plausible.
It could happen. I mean, is that's so old now, it's not even a joke anymore.
People don't even remember it, Dave. People have been born since then.
We've tried to block out everything from the Fauci COVID era.
Oh, that's true. It's all a little blurry.
Yeah, it's a little Fauci'd up. Yeah. So, open phones at 888-825-5225. Matthew is with us in Phoenix. Hey, Matthew, how are you?
Hey, George. Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, so I completed baby step 2 about a few months ago, which feels great, especially doing it for 3 years of just work, sleep, eat, and work more. I'm trying to stay motivated, and just wondering if you guys have any tips to keep motivated, to keep going through, get that baby step 3 done.
How much longer do you got? What's your number now, and what are you aiming at?
I'm at about $3,000 saved now, and my goal is around $14,000.
How long is it going to take you?
My goal is probably by December, January at the latest of next year.
Sounds good.
Of next year? Are you saying like a year and a half?
No.
You're saying right now. You're saying 6 months from now you're going to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's more reasonable.
Good. Okay. And how long have you been working on this so far?
I started with the whole program, or just on baby step 3.
Okay. But I mean, how long did it take you to get out of debt?
It took me about a little over 3 years and 4 months.
Ah, okay. All right. So you're tired. I get it. I'm catching on. Okay. Did you sense something when you got the debt paid off? Like, did you have a celebration moment when you cleared the baby step 2?
Yeah, I went to Taco Bell and ordered off the $1 menu.
Whoa,
you
big
go
spender.
big. Go big. So you didn't even eat like real food or anything. Oh my gosh.
No.
Why? I mean, did you not that you're being silly, and I am too. But seriously, the question I'm asking is, when I got out of debt, I could feel it physically in my chest. It was gone. There was used to be a 300-pound guy standing on my chest, and he was gone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I felt like I lost about 20 pounds just from my shoulders.
Exactly. And that's all joking aside. So what I want to tell you is that when you finish baby step 3, you've got the foundation laid, you have an emergency fund, and you have no payments but a house payment. You're going to feel that in a way you have even more so than just when you clear baby step 2, because like Dr. John Deloney talks about, our bodies store the stress of being broke. Being broke is having a bunch of debt and no money. And when you don't have any debt and you have some money, called your emergency fund, baby step 3, you're going to look at that and go, I have $15,000 and I don't have any payments. There is no wolf at my door. I can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it. You can make it 6 more months to get to that feeling. Aim at that feeling. That's where you're going. It's going to be like going up in the mountains and breathing cool air. Like, it feels good in your lungs. You know what I'm saying? It's freedom. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, breathe that. Breathe that. That's coming in just by December. How old are you?
I am 36.
You've done such a good job, and you're almost free.
Matthew, I remember this feeling that you had. I got out of my $40,000 in consumer debt, and I went, woo! It was so exciting. It's like whack-a-mole, getting rid of those debts and the debt snowball, and then you get to baby step 3, and it's a little discouraging. There's no immediate reward. It feels like the hardest step. You're in the middle of the marathon. Saving is boring. You're tired of working the 3 jobs. And when you're paying off debt, you're making progress back to zero. We're climbing out of the hole, out of a negative net worth, getting to solid ground. But when I reframed my brain and went, oh my gosh, I'm now building for the future instead of paying for the past, that was a game changer for me emotionally. To go, oh my gosh, I've never had a positive net worth in my life. I'm changing my family tree. Generational curses are being broken. And that really lit a new fire under me for a new adventure. And so I think that's part of what you need to do with your situation.
Now, there's kind of 3 things that happen that cause a tremendous release that you physically, it's a physiological shift. One is, first and foremost, you get control. Get on a budget, and you're not bouncing checks. I remember sitting at my desk in my 20s, and I had missed a check. I didn't write it down. And so I'm realizing I've got checks outstanding and there's not money in the account. That pit in your stomach, my stomach tightening up, sweat in the palm of my hands, across the top of your lip, across the top of your eyes, your adrenaline glands start to release, and you're just like, that's just terror, that fear comes over you. I remember that sense, and I remember thinking, never again, never again, never again, never again. So I'm going to be in control. I'm going to be on a budget. I'm going to be in a detailed plan. I'm going to be executing with great, great diligence. Number 2, I'm going to get out of debt. I'm not going to owe a soul. You don't have any payments and you have a plan. Oh my gosh. And then add to that, you've got $15,000 or $20,000 sitting there only for emergencies. It's not for a bass boat. It's only for emergencies. Those 3 things will cause your physical symptoms of anxiety to go down. Dr. John Deloney can tell you more about that, but that's exactly the truth. You'll get where you can breathe again. Your whole, it's a whole different world. And you're not going from terror to terror to terror to terror. This is The Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Open phones this hour. George Camel, Ramsey personality, co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour with the one and only Rachel Cruz on the Ramsey Networks, and the new George Camel YouTube channel. My favorite part is the snark. You don't want to miss it. Check them all out. The phone number here is 888-825-5225. Daniela is with us in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hi, Daniela. How are you?
Hi, good. Grateful to be here.
Go. How can we help?
I'm currently house hunting, but I do not want an HOA because I want backyard chickens. However, in my price range, I can't really find anything that I like. I want to put 20% down, but I just want to know if I'm being too picky, and how do I know if I have unrealistic expectations?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is with an HOA, there's a bunch of clucks, but that doesn't matter. Yeah.
But, I knew there was a pun in here somewhere.
Yeah, there had to be something in here. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of HOAs, although I am in a few of them. Lord Jesus, pray for me, help me. And, yeah, I don't blame you. I'm not sure I want to buy a house based on chickens, but...
Yeah, what's the heart behind the chicken ownership?
Well, most of it is, yes, I don't want an HOA, and also I just want chickens, have their own eggs, eventually, mini homestead sort of thing.
Yeah, so you actually, what you're looking for, you're actually looking for a small piece of ground and not in a neighborhood, more than the HOA issue. Because, I mean, you're not going to homestead and have multiple farm animals in a suburban situation, even if there is no HOA. They have stuff called codes usually.
Possibly. I just know that New Mexico's pretty lenient on that.
That's
My
true.
Parents
That's true.
in suburbs have, their neighbors, we have goats and chickens. And
yeah, but neighbors aren't always real lenient.
Right.
I mean, a certain number of barn animals, farm animals in a non-farm situation will go a ways, but after a while the neighbors are going to get... Whether you got a HOA or not, somebody's going to shoot your chickens. I mean, they just don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, it is New Mexico, so it's a little bit like Tennessee. But yeah, I think you're looking for a piece of ground. How much money have you got for your down payment?
I have $70K.
Good.
Way to go.
What do you make?
I make, it ranges in between 85 to 96.
Good for you. And you're single?
I'm single. I'm 26 years old.
Have you lived this farm life before?
Oh, no.
Okay. You know what? We had a Ramsey personality for a while that did this. Remember Christy Wright's story?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's got a great story about when she was a farmer. Dun 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 dun. That thing. You remember? And yeah, you got to be old. Look that one up. But anyway, you know what I would do? I would try to find a place that allows animals that has like 5 or 10 acres and rent it for a year. And let's give this a shot before I invest based on the whole homestead farm animal thing when I've never done it. I might try that. I recommend that sometimes in vacation home settings where someone says, I've always wanted a beach house. And then they go rent there for a year and find out there's sand. And on everything you touch for days, there's sand. And you can't get rid of the sand. And I don't want to live here. So, yeah, that's what ends up happening. So, yeah, I think I'd give this a run as a renter for a year, and let's experiment and see if we do want to live out a little bit and have a little bit of acreage, and as a 26-year-old young lady, be running some farm animals around. That might end up not being as fun and romantic as it sounds like.
Yeah, and I would be working with a good real estate pro as well in your area who can find these pieces. And, I mean, your options are going to be more limited, and so you've got to be okay with the consequences of that choice of going, I want a little piece of land, and here's what I want on it.
Yeah, but I do think you're probably going to be outside of suburbia. You're probably going to be just outside of town, so to speak. And you can do that. And in Albuquerque, that might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
It might not be a bad thing. Albuquerque's a great little town.
Beautiful.
But there's some pretty areas out there, particularly you head over towards Taos and all that. It's beautiful over towards the mountains. So it starts to get expensive over there too, by the way. But yeah. So just but anytime you've got activities other than just normal shelter involved in your housing, like farm or whatever, then let's. I always suggest giving her a little rent and give her a little try.
Well, our pal
Christy's story was she got fed up with it in about 2 years.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Well, and Dr. John Deloney had some chickens, and he just told me there was some kind of like rat infestation. They had to get rid of the chickens, and so his
that was
dream
just the other day.
Yeah. His dream of chicken ownership is gone too.
That's not a credible source, though.
John Deloney?
John and chickens, that's not credible.
I take all of his stories with a grain of salt.
I think, the rat infestation. Yeah, so who gets that? Deloney. But
I didn't know that was a thing.
But yeah, Christie's was. I think hers was valid. I mean, she just ran farm animals and got tired of it, and then decided I wanted to be like in the city again. And so, I think she was glad she didn't own it.
Yes,
this is the end of the story. So. If I recall, I remember hearing the story a few times, so that's where we'll go. That's how I would look at it. Thank you for the call. Tim is in Detroit. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. How about you guys?
Better than we deserve, sir. How can we help?
Well, I'm about 75 or 80,000 in debt, mixed between credit cards, consumer debt, mostly vehicle payment. This is all not including the house, and looking for your advice on how to get out of it.
Okay. How much do you owe on the car?
Roughly 38,000.
What do you make?
I bring home about 1,100 a week. It fluctuates a little bit, but 1,100 is about average.
Sell the car.
Okay.
It's completely insane.
I agree.
Yeah, you bought way too much car. It's not brought you the joy that you wanted it to bring you. It's brought you more stress. Now, there's times when you sit in it and turn the key, it's joyful for a moment, but then when you remember the payment, it makes you want to throw up a little in your mouth.
No, question for getting rid of it is I think I've heard in the past you recommend getting a personal loan to pay off the difference in what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you would recommend doing, or should
what's
I borrow
it worth?
401k?
No, what's it worth?
It's worth about 28,000.
Who said?
It's what Kelly Blue Book said.
On private sale or trade-in?
I believe that was private.
Okay. How long have you had this car?
About just over a year.
Did you roll negative equity into it?
I did.
Yeah, okay. That's not way you get that far in that fast. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so you already had the... I would get a personal loan at the credit union for $10,000, and I would sell this puppy and get you a hoopty. That's a good start because you got a $750, $800 car payment, and you make $50,000 a year. This is no fun. This is not the definition of fun. I want you to get your life back, man, and drive like no one else so later you can drive like no one else. Let's get you where you're not broke anymore and then get you a good car. That's how I would do it. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate. Plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more. Well, we just finished the best EntreLeadership Summit week we have ever done last week. It was off the chain. And the weird thing is, I can honestly say the only one better is going to be next year's. And it's going to be. I am absolutely thrilled to announce, and a large number of these tickets are already sold, and I think the hotel that we're going to is already sold out. But I'm going to go ahead and announce this anyway. EntreLeadership Summit, which is possibly the premier leadership conference in America today. We happen to do it, but it's so good that if I wasn't doing it, I would go as an attendee. It's amazing. It's really, really good. If you're a business leader, investing in your own growth is something you do. Our friend John Maxwell says leadership ability is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. You got to invest in yourself if you want to grow in leadership. And the premier conference next year, EntreLeadership, you're going to be challenged. Listen to this. Top minds. James Clear of Atomic Habits. Craig Groeschel of Life Church. Mike Rowe of Deadliest Catch and Dirty Jobs. Carrie Lawrence. Carrie was the first female fighter pilot in American history, and she is a motivational machine. She's something else. And I'm going to speak to Dave Ramsey, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman. Next year's summit will be our 10th year anniversary. Wow. We're taking over the Gaylord Texan in Dallas to celebrate. If you want to grow and you want to be there, you need to go right now. I think the platinum tickets are gone. The preferred are almost gone. I think the hotel rooms are gone. There was only there was less than 900 left the other day, and I'm pretty sure we sold them out. But maybe not. I don't know. You can check. Go to RamseySolutions.com/summit. April 21 through 24 next year. And it's on sale right now. It goes on sale today to the public, so you're the first public to hear about this. RamseySolutions.com/summit. Andrea is with us in Des Moines, Iowa. Did I push the wrong button? I did. Andrea is in Des Moines, Iowa. How are you, Andrea?
I'm great. Thank you so much for taking my call, Dave and George.
Sure. What's up?
So my question is, we're in baby step 7, and I was wondering if it's okay or if it's violating the principles to go back into debt for a mortgage to get a bigger house. So the situation is, I've started working again. Our household income went up $70,000, so we're at about $200,000 annual income. We have a net worth of about $800,000, and our primary residence, our only residence, is worth $350,000 about, and we have over our emergency fund about $100,000 in savings.
And you want to move from $350,000 to what?
To about $750,000 or $800,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And our current house is like 1,300 square feet plus 1,100 square feet finished basement, and we have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, there's not a principle in the Ramsey process or baby steps that prevents you from doing that as long as the payment's no more than a fourth of your take-home pay
Right.
on a 15-year fixed. I
Yeah,
gotta share with you the truth. I mean, you make $200,000 a year.
Sure.
You have $100,000 saved. You have $350,000, so that's $450,000. $550,000, $650,000, $750,000. You can do this in 3 years if you just save it. And
okay.
I personally,
would you delay investing for that to save it?
I mean, you have an $800,000 net worth at what age?
41.
Yeah, you can if you want. I would have to figure it out because I don't borrow money, and it would be particularly hard for me to go back into debt once I had received personally. This is just a personal observation, not a discussion of the baby steps or the principles. The principles are you can go do it as long as you do it on 15 year. But I just couldn't do it emotionally. I just couldn't put myself back in there. I value my freedom more than I do my style of living, standard of living.
Yeah, that's where we're at. My husband is on team what would Dave do, and I'm on team Dave wouldn't yell at me.
Yeah. Well, Dave's not going to yell. Dave's not going to yell at either one of you. You're rock stars. I mean, you're amazing. Oh, you can't say rock stars anymore after the commercials. But yeah, anyway, you're amazing. You're fabulous, and you've done a great job. You got approaching $1 million net worth. You're making $200,000 a year. You got 5 kids. Everything's paid for. There's no Dave yell at you anywhere.
Thank you.
I would be sad because I just couldn't do it emotionally.
Gotcha.
It makes my stomach hurt a little bit thinking about it.
And that mortgage would be, we're talking a $400,000 mortgage. So that's sizable. That's more than the house is worth. If they put down $400 after fees.
You wait till spring, maybe $300, but still. But then you could pay it off in 3 years.
That would be the goal. If they did this move, it would be how fast can we pay this off?
Yeah.
Get back
put it on $100,000 a year, because you just increased your household income by $70 the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could put $100 a year on this and probably still do investing. But I would have to, and if you were saving to buy, well, how deep would you sacrifice to save up to pay cash so that you could do it in 2.5 years rather than 4.5 years? If you just put a little thermometer, a savings thermometer on the refrigerator and you colored it in, right?
Made it a big goal.
How fast could we get there? Because that's honestly how we do everything. We can't do it until we can see how we can pay for it, because we don't borrow money, because I just can't go back to having anything in my mailbox or my inbox that looks like a bank.
No more payments.
I just can't do it. Life is too good. I've been free for too long. I mean, is a little bit of slavery okay? Would you yell at me for some slavery? No, I'm not going to yell at you, but I'll be sad for your slavery.
Yeah. Well, once you live without that payment, I mean, it feels
not
so
what
good.
would Dave do. That's not the point. It's not me. I mean, it's why did you do all this work to get to here and then want to go back after you got here. It feels like we're, I lost 600 pounds. Is it okay to eat a box of donuts? Yeah, but probably not going to give you what you thought it was going to give you, And it's just probably not going to feel good when you finish. You're probably going to wake up with like a sugar hangover.
Little regret.
Yeah, it could happen. I haven't had a drink in 10 years. I used to be an alcoholic, but I think I'm going to try some bourbon tonight. I just don't get it.
It's dangerous.
I don't know if those metaphors play or not. I'm sorry for you people in the addiction field, but yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. But there's something there. I just, and it's, y'all don't need my permission out there or Georgia's permission to do stuff. We're just trying to give you principles and guidelines that are your shortest, best route to a great life of wealth and prosperity. We want you to be there, and we want you to stay there when you get there. So I don't know. But yeah, technically, we don't tell people.
If you wanted to go upgrade the house and take on a
people
15-year...
People do it all the time. They do it all the time. And then they turn around. But I got to tell you, you're probably going to hate it so much, you're probably going to go bananas and pay it off really, really fast. Because it's probably going to drive you.
Which again, if you stay there with 5 kids, you're going to want to save up really fast to go. We got to upgrade this thing. So either way, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's the way we do it. And either what happens is we either get increasingly motivated and cut deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to get to things sooner, or to get to that goal sooner, or we get decreasingly motivated and we realize we didn't want it, and we abandon the goal. One of the two. The last time we did this that I can remember, where we cut at the Ramsey place really, really, really deep, was about, gosh, I'm trying to think. It's probably 15 years ago when we bought what is Financial Peace Plaza.
Oh, yeah, our old headquarters. And I bought that building for $5 million, and it was the first time I had bought something that expensive. And there was a timeline to that, right?
Yeah, and I had to close it by a certain date. I had an option on it. And if I didn't close it by that date, I was not going to get it. And by the time the date was up, the building was worth $13 million, and I had it tied up at $5 million.
Wow.
So I had $8 million on the table.
That's some incentive.
That I was going to walk away from if I didn't come up with the money, but I wasn't willing to borrow it. Man, we scratched every nickel out of the corner of the couch. We turned couches upside down and shook them.
You did a GoFundMe before it wasn't cool.
We did everything, and we barely closed on that building, but it was. But I would have walked before I went into debt. I would have walked away from it. You're crazy, Ramsey. Yeah, crazy like a fox. This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Common sense here. It's so rare now that having it is like having a superpower. Vivian is with us in San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Vivian. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I'm an undergrad student right now, and I found you guys through my sister about 1.5 years ago, but I actually just recently started listening to you guys every morning. And
well,
so my
thank
question
you.
is that Oh, thank you. You guys have really taught me a lot. And it's kind of made me a little bit more aware of my financial situation. And I plan to go to medical school in 2025. And I'm unsure where I want to go right now. But Texas seems to be the best bet just because it could be cheaper. And I like Texas overall. But I want to feel more confident in my financial situation. So my question is, how can I set myself up for success knowing that I have about $40,000 in undergrad debt right now while I plan to go to medical school?
Wow, good for you. And so you're currently working on your undergrad?
Yes.
Okay. How's your GPA?
It's good. So I'm hoping to get my science GPA up a little bit more to be more competitive, to kind of have more options for medical school.
Yeah, you're going to need a 4.0, aren't you?
Well, yes, basically. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the goal of trying to get as high as possible.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I asked. And how much do you have left in your undergrad?
I have 1 semester left. I'll be graduating next fall.
So you'll graduate this Christmas, right?
Yes.
Or are you going this summer and you're graduating in September? What are you saying?
I'm sorry?
You're going to graduate this coming September or this coming December?
December.
Okay. All right. So about 6 months from now, you're going to be done. And that's 2024, and then 2025 is med school. What's the gap?
The gap is just to kind of get some money together that way and build up my resume. That way I can actually be more competitive, like volunteering, getting shadowing experience, and
Good
getting
for you. Good for you.
Just like a pile of money.
Very, very well done. I love your plan.
Enough.
Love your plan. And you're going to clear the 40 grand while you're doing that. You can clear that living on nothing. Can you live at your parents' house while you're doing all this?
No, my parents actually live in a different state, so I'm on my own over here.
Oh, okay.
But I do have low rent, so that's something that has been going for me lately.
And you're not afraid of work, and you are a planner. I like this conversation so far.
So what is med school going to cost?
I'm not sure. So usually they say, let me see here. So there's only 2 places in San Antonio, but mostly I would say it can be up to like $30,000 a year, or no, it was $50,000 a year or so. Depending on the place I go, I'm hoping that I can go to a place that has like maybe $30,000, and that way it won't be so much. And plus San Antonio has low cost of living, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I can hopefully just get things under the belt.
It's a great city. You're in a great place. So all that's a good plan. Well, the thing I want to do is exactly what you're doing. To start with, most people who want to go into medical school are so desperate to go to medical school that if someone accepts them, regardless of the cost, they go, "Oh, that's it! God is here. I'm going." And so instead you're going, "I think I'm going to shop for a better deal." I like your plan a whole lot better.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a much better attitude, a much better approach. That's going to save you $150,000 or $200,000. Your attitude will.
Yes, I'm hoping so.
No, it will. It will, because you're not going to do it if you don't. And so we're going to pile up a pile of money. We're going to clear the 40 grand during the gap year. We're going to apply until we get into a place that is the least possible expensive to get a medical degree, which, by the way, that doesn't hurt you. I've been to a lot of doctors in my life. I have never once asked one where they went to med school. Never once.
That's something that has been like making me a little nervous of these top-notch schools that people kind of say,
so
if you
what?
go here, you have better resources.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
I kind of
That's mostly just marketing.
That's mostly.
I can't even read the font on the frame in my doctor's office. Okay, let alone figure out where he went. He just has good bedside manner, and I trust him.
Yeah,
and that's all
it depends on. I mean, obviously, if you're going to do research in some kind of muckety-muck situation, where you go to school might matter. But if you're going to practice medicine, and no one asks the nurse, no one asks the lab tech, no one asks the anesthesiologist right before they stick in the needle where they trained. They just go, "Are you going to kill me or are you going to heal me?" That's all we want to know.
Yes.
Right? And so, that all joking aside, that's the most overstated bunch of garbage in the world, where you went to law school or where you went to med school. Sorry, boys and girls, but there's life. And now, so you're going to go where you can afford to go the most. Now, so we've at a minimum, you have limited your student loans to almost nothing. The second component of that, I think, is already built into your plan after talking to you, because you're wise beyond your years, is that a whole lot of people, when they're doing graduate work, feel like there's no reason not to borrow the money because they're going to make a lot of money later. And so they about as much as 50% of student loan debt, undergrad and grad, goes to lifestyle, not to education. So people spend like they're in Congress when they're in school. And, used to when you went to school, you lived like a poor man's life while you were getting your school, and you were just trying to scrape together the nickels for the tuition. Now we borrow enough to rent the apartment with a skylight, a jacuzzi, and a racquetball court. And they need to have pickleball these days too. So, but yeah, all that, and none of that has anything to do with getting your medical degree. So you've already kind of got a lifestyle thing going. If you keep that going, you don't borrow money to eat. If you borrow money at all, it's a few nickels that you couldn't rub together for something else. And I don't recommend that, but that's at least going to limit the damage that this does and how long it takes the patient to recover, to stretch a metaphor. So then the last thing I'll tell you is this, is I would talk to every medical establishment I could. There's a shortage of docs, particularly in certain types of practices and service. If you agreed to work for hospital company of whatever, and you named it, and you agreed to work in their hospital that was in a rural environment for 3 years after graduation, and they paid you very well for working there, but you agreed to work in a place where they have trouble getting docs, they might scholarship you.
Okay.
I'm going to go shopping on stuff like that because there's such a problem post-COVID with medical folk, particularly in what we call underserved areas, which would be rural areas and inner city areas. They can't get nurses, They can't get docs. And so the HCA... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also have a question. So I do have a Roth IRA that I haven't been contributing. I started it.
No, you're a better investment. Put all the money in you.
Okay. That's exactly what I was going to ask. Should I even be putting any money, or should I just leave the amount that I have and just focus on debt?
Exactly. Leave it, and let's completely focus everything on this singular goal. Because the good news is, if you can graduate and pass your boards, and you're a doc, you're going to make really good money if you're smart. And you're smart. You're going to be someone who maximizes this education and monetizes it, turns it into a good return.
Yeah, these, especially with med school, it's like the people who say, well, Dave, I live in California. The math doesn't apply here. The same mentality happens with folks going to med school. They go, well, your plan's out the window. I'm going to go in as much debt as I need to. Blank check, monopoly money. We'll figure it out later.
Well, I mean, the number of times in 30 years I've talked to someone, like not that long ago, a lady called. She's 32 years old, medical doctor, making $250,000 a year. She had a new baby, special needs. She wants to quit. But she's got $400,000 in debt. She wants to quit, take care of her new special needs baby, but she's got $400,000 in debt. See, life doesn't exactly roll out the way that this idea that if I borrow money, it's all going to be okay because I'm going to make money. Yeah, maybe. Until ... called life. And so that's the problem with the assumption on this stuff. Assumptions, yeah. Those are dangerous. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. Mark Twain said, the trouble is not dying for a friend, but in finding a friend worth dying for.
He has a way with words, that Twain.
Oh, that's wrong. Heather's in Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, Heather. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hello. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my husband and I are on baby step 2, but he's made it clear that once our debt is paid off, he doesn't want to close the cards. And I just feel like it's completely unnecessary because we have 6 credit cards. And his argument is, as long as we stick to the budget, we'll be fine. He uses miles and points with certain cards, and it's just chaotic to me to track all of those payment deductions. And so we're kind of at a disagreement there. I don't really know what to do.
Sell the husband. That easy.
Wonder what we could get for him. I wonder if you could. Can you get miles on that transaction? Oh my gosh, Heather, I'm sorry. How long y'all been married?
8 years.
Okay. How long have you been working on this?
2 weeks. We did do I did the baby step 2 in 3 years ago, and paid off $50,000 of credit card debt by myself in 1 year, because he had lost his job. But then I'm kicking myself because I didn't go beyond that step. And he lost his job again in April, and we're still in the same place where we have less credit card debt, but we're not really, we didn't really go beyond that. So we didn't have the 3 to 6 months of living expenses. We had bought a new car last year, which I'm mad about. But,
so let me just tell you. Let me tell you what I hear.
Yeah.
Okay. When I first started talking to you, I thought I heard it, and now that I've heard a little more, I'm positive I heard it. In your voice, when you're talking about him and his behaviors, I hear fear. His behaviors are terrifying you because his job is irregular. His principles for handling money are stupid, and they're leaving you at risk, and you know it. And it doesn't make you mad. It scares you.
Yeah.
You don't feel safe.
Totally. Yeah.
So this is not about credit cards. Yeah, this is not about credit cards. This is about marriage.
Yeah.
And so I don't know exactly what'll fix this. It is not unusual for couples to disagree about everything, including money. If Larry Burkett used to say, opposites attract, and if one of you if you're just alike, one of you is unnecessary. So it's okay that you're opposites. And how old is he?
35. We're both 35.
Okay. So when I was 25, I was him. Sharon didn't get a voice. She didn't get a vote. I was smarter than everybody, and I did whatever the flip I wanted to do, and she felt very unsafe. Not physically unsafe, not like I was abusive. That's not what we're talking about. And she had a reason to feel unsafe because it wasn't long after that we went completely bankrupt because I was a moron, okay? That's how I can hear this sound in your voice because I've heard it at home a long, long time ago, 30-plus years ago now, okay? So I'm telling you all that to say you're not wrong, but I'm not also asking you to be mean, but I am telling you that this is not a sustainable relationship the way it's working now. It will not end well if we don't repair and develop a better method of negotiating things in your house. And so worst case, not worst case, but a case, an element could be marriage counseling. That wouldn't be a bad thing. By the way, it helped me considerably. The actual facts around the issues are very easy to dispute, but I don't think that we're dealing with facts here. I think we're dealing with he has an opinion and he really doesn't want you to have a vote, and you watch his opinions play out and they're terrifying you because he's so wrong. He keeps messing everything up. And so, it's laughable that you guys are in financial trouble because of his instability in his career, and yet he has a plan to make everybody rich with airline miles. That's humorous. It's so dumb. So, really, this.
I completely agree.
The credit card company's marketing is working, and
it's like I always laugh and say, I hired a personal trainer. He has an 8-pack, and I have a keg, but I'm not going to listen to him. Why would I listen to this guy? I've got it all. Obviously, based on my physique, I have it all figured out. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, I've got to listen to Mr. 8-pack, and if he says eat carrots and not donuts, Bubba, you need to eat carrots and not donuts, Bubba, or you're not going to get one of these. You're going to keep that thing on the front of you. And so, this is how this works. It's not, you have to submit yourself to the actual facts. So, I want to give you Financial Peace University, because I love your husband, because I remember him well. He lives deep inside of me, and I want to help him, and I want the two of you to go through that class together. I'm going to pay for it, no cost to you guys. All I ask is that you talk him into watching the videos and going through the class with you, and tell him to shut up and listen.
Absolutely. I thank you so much. I know it will help.
It'll help, but and I might, the lessons are really good, and they might get through, and that might be all it takes. But you also may need to sit down with your pastor or with a good marriage counselor, and you guys work on your communication style. Because we've been married, Sharon and I have been married 41 years, and she laughingly says, that somewhere around 36 of those were excellent.
That's a pretty good track record.
So, and I think I know where the other ones were. They were back there in the early days. And so, when she found her voice, she says, and well, by God, she did. There's no question about that. But
we love her for it.
She now gets 2 votes. She used to only have no votes, so now she gets 2. But anyway, we're joke about that. But it's a good thing for us to be on it. She and I had to learn this proverb: who can find a virtuous wife, for her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, and he will have no lack of gain. So if Sharon has a bad feeling about something, and she's from the hills of East Tennessee, it's a 7-syllable word, a feeling. If she has a bad feeling about something, we don't do it because it costs me a minimum of $10,000. Not because I have to pay her that, but because I'm getting ready to do something stupid with money is what that means. We don't give to a charity, a ministry that we both are not in agreement on and have peace to. We don't make major purchases that we're not in agreement and have peace about. We don't go and buy a car and come home and say, look what I did, honey. Or you got to go along with my stupid stuff just to prove you love me. We don't do this. We have peace about these major moves, and then we make wise major moves, and it's caused us to become wealthy, healthy, and wise.
One of the most beautiful parts about marriage is accountability and unity. And one of the hardest parts about marriage is accountability and unity. And for 8 years, you guys have not been on the same page. You haven't had a vision for the future. It's just been his schemes and his plans while you sit back and take the brunt of this. And you need to be very clear with him that you are scared. This is not okay. I don't think this is an intellectual discussion about credit card rewards.
No.
This is way deeper than that. This is just a symptom for something much deeper. And go through the Financial Peace course, every lesson, and really make him watch and see if you guys can get on a plan and gain that.
And listen, if he listens to this and it pisses him off, tell him to call me. I'll be happy to talk to him.
That would be fun.
I'd love to talk to him. I'm not mad at him.
Has that happened before? You get the spouse to call in later?
I'll help him. I'll be happy to help him. Hey, Skyler, pick up and help them get to Financial Peace University. That puts this hour in the books. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, George Camel here. If you love the show and you want a deeper dive on your money journey, we've got a weekly newsletter that gives you helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for the newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.